Great day is a great Tuesday again. I am so grateful that you have tuned into my TV network where we let's build wealth. Let's get the great knowledge of how to build wealth. You're featuring Wayne Foster with the CEO of WC and Property. Is where I am the owner of my own company. I've been in the business for a while, building and remodeling. And so we started these um, um, information, how to build wealth, how to get wealth, classes or shows, whatever you want to YouTube, so many names that you can call the network that we got. But this is my channel. What I talk about, let's build wealth. I talk about things that we can get in, and as we learn the knowledge of what is wealth is, and how to create that wealth to generate over your years. And so, as starting and building something, you got to have, I always say, you have a plan. And in that plan, you got to make sure that plan is written down, make sure the plan is to a point where you can understand what you want and why and building it. So, or whatever you project is. And so today, this is a always Tuesdays are my TV shows. You can view these on YouTube. You can view them on Facebook. But you watch me here on my TV show on Roku, and we air every Tuesday at 10 o'clock. I always come on, and some of you, if this is your first time doing my TV show on Let's Build Wealth, um, welcome you. I'm glad that you have tuned in and want to learn about how to build wealth, how to get wealth, and how to stay wealth. These are three main things that I've learned over my life and building wealth. So every Tuesday, you can be live with me at 10 o'clock, and we'll talk about let's build wealth. And it's and a whole lot of things that I'm going to bring on the platform for you to watch, and you get the knowledge and you learn. And um, and some of you have already known me. Some have watched my previous channels of Best Being Wealth. We're starting now on first subject I started was giving you a blueprint. As I talk about writing it down, make sure that what you want, you put it on paper, and then when you put it on paper, then you put it in action, and that's the key. The Bible teaches us that we get power to get wealth. You get the ability, and when you learn the ability of that, then you start putting that ability to work. Well, and I show something. Last thing on my TV network, I show you if I don't have in front of me. If you started out, even with this pen, this pen is making somebody wealth now. The pen now has been created, to write, what you put down on a piece of paper, and even the paper is wealth. And so everything that we doing today, my TV, network is wealth. It's generate income. It's generating money, and as you generate it over time, it becomes to a place where you become wealthy. And as we say, into the wealthy side is that you're allowing your money to leverage. You're not just working on a job and getting a paycheck, or you're not in self-employed where you own the business but you still have to be there. And the other way it talks about making money is in the investment side, where you have start and you put investment, whether it's in a stock, whether it's in real estate, whatever, you learn how to put that money into something, and over the times it creates more money, or like gold, silver, or coins. As you keep saving them, we save pennies, every day. We save the coins, and then eventually we keep saving a lot. And we put it in a jar, and we put it in a corner, and then when you want it, you have something to go and you can get it. Them coins can take anywhere from started out 1 year, and you kept putting it in there, and then when you find out you made 1,000, you made 5,000 just from coins by putting money away. That is savings for a later time, not spending. If you put it away and you keep putting it away, it generates its own um, wealth, because what happened is over the time it kept building, and as it kept building, it kept growing. You can't never put a penny in and not put another penny, because just by putting a penny there and not putting in something to allow something to grow from it, it will never happen. So when you put the penny in and you put another penny in, you become two pennies. Just with the pennies, you can still build wealth for pennies. I know a man that, when they were talking about penny savers, I didn't understand what it entails then, about 20 years ago. But then I understood that as you it was a stock, and called penny savers, and some of you might have heard of that. Some of you might have put an investment into that, and it came wealthy today. I had an opportunity 20 years ago where somebody brought that to me, to put $100 in a penny saver when I was in my 20s, and I didn't take it serious. Um, Maybe longer than that. Maybe about 30 years ago, maybe. And I didn't take advantage of that. And then later on, in a couple of years later, I had eventually passed that investor by, and that $100, if I had invested in that penny saver at that time, it would I want to say maybe about 4 or 5 years, it increased $1 million return. But the power of that, watch this, the power of the wealth of it was the knowledge. If I knew the knowledge as I know the knowledge today, I would have found $400-500 and I will invest it, because I knew it was going to bring me a big return later. So this is why we're talking about how to build wealth. This is how we learn. Everything that we learn, you gotta know a plan. You gotta know why you building it. You gotta know why you're doing it. The whys is always there. If the whys are not there, then we won't get up in the morning. I go every day because I got a lot of whys in my life that I want to conquer. So those whys stays a part of me, because it makes me want to do what I want to do. So if I got goals that I'm trying to reach, I place wise there. I bought my F-150, 2013. You know what I mean? My dream car is a Cadillac Escalade. I could, where I'm at now, can go pay cash for it now if I want to. But I've never planned that what I want to do. I don't want to take what I have and create that, because a vehicle don't, the value of it is not as larger as a home. So I invested in homes. I buy homes and we remodel them or we flip them. And so now I understand that more houses I flip, it's more return is on my money. So if I buy a car, or I buy my Escalade now, I take that 10,000 or 15,000, pay cash for it now. Okay, in the return, in 5 years, my car is going to uh, it's going depreciate. It's not going to be worth 10,000 that I paid when I paid it to that man. Now some cars do, they have what they uh 50 or 70 car. It's an antique car, so that car will worth a little bit more now if you pay for it back. You had one back in it's the stain. I mean, the same thing it was made from, like the seats, the steering wheel, the lights and all that. Or it can cost that car to cost a lot of money now. But back in the 60s and the 50s, it to them, my dad and them bought them cars. It was cheap. It was expensive to them, but now we go to buy one for a couple thousand and we hold on, we fix it up. We might can get up maybe 10,000, maybe 20,000. I heard some have in them car shows that made $50,000 to $100,000. I heard more than that off of some of the cars that was costing nothing, but because it came an antique, it the value became more. But typically, when you buy a car, when you take it off the car lot, it is the value went down. You might bought it for 50,000, and when you drove it off and got it financed and all that, then it was worth 50. It was worth 25,000. You signed that contract for 50,000 to lease it or to buy it, but then when you drove it off, it was only worth 25, maybe 20,000. So into that, when you're building wealth or you're building the knowledge of that, it was really not to put it in the car. It was really put it into something that will bring a return. So then eventually, as you keep making money, then you can buy what you want, and I have to be struggling. I paid I took some of my bill money. Took something, and I took that money and I placed it over there. But then what you've done, you create a debt, and then when you create a debt, then that debt continuously hurts you. Now, while we're there, if you take the same thing, I say you go finance a car, and you finance a car for 10 to 15 years, and you paying $400 or $500 a month in a car note. Understand this: when you're paying that car every month, you're paying an interest on that car. Okay, and in paying that interest on that car, it creates more than what you bought the car for. So the man that owns the car lot is making out good, but the person that buying the car is not, because when you buy it and what you buy it for is worth less, as I might say. So if I bought it at 500, well, then only really worth $100, so it's just less. So, but over the times, if I put 5,000 down, the car and $15,000 to buy it, and then over the years, then what I'm gonna do is pay 5,000 down, and then I'm gonna owe a note on that car, and that note is essentially needs a payment, but that's what a note is. Into time of a payment. So whatever payment you agree to, that's what the note is going to be on that car. So you agree every month at I'm gonna pay $500. That's a note every month that you have to pay on that car payment, which is if it's a 15,000, so you're paying on it note the 15,000. So and I know you heard it you call it car note. So so if you pay for it out cash for it, then that means you have no more interest, you have no more payments. That means you own it, and then you could use that car for what you want to use it for. But the knowledge I'm giving you now on when you understanding how to build wealth and you're building a legacy for you and your family and your kids, what essentially you want to do is that you want to learn how to know what to invest in and what not to invest in. So and so sometimes instead of me wanting to go buy that Cadillac Escalade right now, I would be costing myself a little bit more debt because then I got what I want, and there's a lot of people do this. They get the what they want, but then they have all this debt over their head, which they can't pay for it. And so they take the sometimes people take their credit cards and try to pay their debt off, but you create not even doing that. And into the bill, and we'll get into that as you know my TV show you watch. We talk about credit. We talk about how to build credit, how to get credit. You know, when as me, I have both credit. I have personal credit. I have business credit, and over the years it took me to build both of them. But I have a loan through my business, but my business have its credit, and it allows me to get that credit loan. I have some credit cards. I financed my truck through my personal credit. But what I learned now that I'm getting ready to refinance it to my business and let my business pay for my vehicle. That's what I use that vehicle for. Is for the company. It's not my personal one. I use it to pick up take my materials to the job site, and I also carry my tools so we can work on whatever project we're working on. So into that, that's when you weigh out what debt you want, because the debt I have, my company pays for that debt. So that's not a debt, it's a debt that's a debt out there that I have created. Understand, we talking about wealth. So my debt is creating me a wealth, because without me working and me doing my job, I can't bring wealth in. So the debt I created was not a large debt. It's a debt that I can, manage to the company and let the company take care of it. And then I am not in debt, because now my company has a position to take care of what it needs to be taken care of. So I can operate that business. So into that, you understand, even if credit cards, and when you get to one person credit cards, you don't want to go in debt. You want to use a credit card to build the credit scores up. You want to use it a little here to pay maybe gas or maybe buy something, but then as that month's over it before that uh, pay cycle comes, you want to pay that credit card off. So that means you won't have a late on your credit. You won't see that on your credit when you look up your credit, or somebody do look at your credit and say, well, you got a lot of lates or you have a lot of charge on your credit. So that's not good. So I'm not gonna get into that because I got some other things that I want to stay on building you to the point you want to get to in your life and in your home, to where you are building wealth that you can lead or do what you want to do and still things carry on. That's what we want to be at. We want to be at the investment side. We don't want to be, especially we don't be as a employee working for somebody else, because your time is valuable, but you work time for money. You got to put so many hours in, and those hours you put in is what you make. So typically we don't want to be on that side where we just constantly working for somebody else, because who we working for, you're making them wealthy. You cost them to get the power to get that wealth. So you want to be the one sitting on that seat, and you don't want to one the one to create and get business, so your money can keep making money while you sleep, and making money. You're making money. So I want to just give you, always come on before I go into a little teaching on what we're at. 'Cause if you've been watching me, we've been talking about blueprints, and you see that's in my studio with me is a set of blueprints, and we had another set of blueprints, and I talked about square footage, and I tell you where you look at your blueprints to get the square footage from. Now we're going to talk. We talked about last Tuesday. If you've been watching me, we talked about how the square footage is very important. Square footage is very important is because you need that to know determining if you got 11 square foot home, or if you got a 12 uh, foot home, you can determine that by your feet. You know, we all know what feet is uh, depth and width, and you determine them of how long and how wide that house is. And so we determine that by when you look at the number of feet, it's that one decimal sided, and if you see two, it's not that normally is the inches. So just in case somebody didn't have a chance to go back and watch my previous TV shows, this is where now I'm giving you today. I told you I was gonna come and we're gonna talk about the tape. You know, creating the feet, and then taking the if you have the blueprint. And normally times on the blueprint, excuse me, on the blueprint, it normally has at the bottom of the blueprint. It normally tell you if it's uh, a quarter or half. And on the blueprint, if it says a quarter, that means every quarter that's on your tape, and you run your tape across that little area of that it's small because it'll be if I open up these blueprints now and because some of you is watching me, normally the blueprints will entail your foundation, your floor plan, and it will give you the outside or what it's gonna look like before you build it. And so it gives you the front, sides, and the back of it. That's typically when you get your blueprint. So whatever house or building that you're building, typically you will see your front, the side, and your back, and the roof. And then when you flip the second page, and normally on the second page, it normally gives us the floor plan or what's the way that project or is broken up, like bathrooms, bedroom, office, or meeting room, or things like that. All right. So when you flip the other one over, normally have the foundation is what the house or the building sits on. No, normally a house or a building sits on 8-inch blocks, 12-inch blocks, which is under that is a foundation, which is poured by concrete, and then the prints will tell you those sides. So if I would take my prints, I would look at the bottom of it. It would tell me if I want to, when we building houses, so we can know that this room is 12 by 12. We want to make sure that we're comparing it with the tape and printing it what's on my blueprint, so I can temporarily, um, we can figure it out to make sure we actually is right. So I would tend to get my tape out, and I made my little diagram of a tape on my paper. Normally, you go from 1 to 12. Each 12 will give you a feet. So you go 12, 24. That's each feet, and you see a feet. Normally on tapes, they have feet as some have a house, some have a little square, some have a little red box, and it had a little red box underneath for it, and essentially that's a feet. So when you are, some, different tapes that you get, that people that like, but I typically sticks to a tape that Stanley's that they're using for years. I know they have so many different kind of tapes, so many different names, but they're all the same. Some are made. Let me say this real quickly. Some tapes are made for metal, steel, and sometimes it's the guys that doing metal or steel. They have a lot more details to their numbers on their tapes. particularly on the builder, we typically build. I mean, we normally deals with the feet, quarters, half, 5/8, 3/4, and 7/8. Uh, as and sometimes we deal with 1/8. Typically, we get into very seldom we get to a 16th. It's on the tape, but very seldomly when we are building, it's very seldom that we'll come across something that we in diagrams is giving us that 16th. But sometimes when people come out, normally they used to the feet, excuse me, quarter, half, 5/8, 3/4, and 7/8. It's typically what they're used to. So I have showed you from one. Then normally, like I said, we deal with is that quarter and that half is on that tape. And so when you see that, it gives us the ability to know. And if I'm looking at my blueprints, and on the blueprints, it is telling me that it's every quarter is a feet. So I will go to my blueprint. I always will put. It's more easy to do this way because sometimes it's hard, especially for us. We use these tapes so much, so our numbers sometimes get really wasted off. But it's very always happen at number one, from inch one to like 2 or 3 inches on a tape, typically, because you use that mostly every time you go and do something. You're pulling the tape out, constantly pulling the tape out, constantly pulling the tape out. Because you constantly do measurements, and so if you're doing the measurements, you got to constantly use it. So as you're doing it, it's like wear and tear, like anything else. So into that, we have to be, using it. And so what we normally do if you potentially um, we will have just a square box, and then on my bottom of my blueprints, it will let me know that every quarter is a feet. So when I see that on the bottom of the prints, uh, what I would do is it would be just like this. It would be on that bomb print like this. Let me know that represent that every quarter on my tape is represent that is a feet. So so if I go to my tape and I'm just saying the square I just made, I just say it was that room was supposed to be in a 12 by 12. And so what I would have done is put my tape on one. It's mostly typically easy to do it this way. Some people I see do they put the tape on the right edge of that area or that starts that room on their floor plan. So when you see that, then typically what you do, you put that. It was typical for me. I'll put mines. Always put mines on. Put it on the one, because then typically, like I said earlier, you can see the numbers a little bit more better than you can. And then remember, every quarter until I get to the end of that room. So you see that square there, you're gonna go from one point to the other point, and you don't go on the outside of it. You stay on it. You stay in between the one. And if it ends up to a four, you go from the one to the four. And what we're gonna do in there, and I typically take a pen or something, and we're gonna count these uh every quarter that we get to. So remember, there's only every quarter that you get to. So you'll get to number one will be the quarter, another quarter will be the half, another quarter will be the 3/16, and then you back to that two, which it would be four. So I should have four into that, right? So if I'm gonna have four into that, and typically you can I'm gonna do it as you don't know it, because then I would just do if I got 4, and I would do the 4 into the 4, then that would let me know that room is 8. If I, typically, if I would do it that way, I would know because I do it so much. So in doing, you do it so much, it's just something that come to you. But the person like you that don't know it, so here, this is what we'll do it. We would have did my first one is the quarter, so that's 1 feet. Second one is a half, that's 2 feet. That's 3/4, that's a 30 feet. So now we had 3 feet. All right. Then we're gonna go to the 2. So 2, then mix it 4. All right. Then we're gonna go from that 2 and keep going. So we have 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. So if I was taking my, I want to make sure this room is what it's supposed to be. If I'm out building it, and I want to make sure everything is working out. So, and then I saw that room was a 14 on top of it. If I had seen that a 14, and I took this tape and I went like I said, I put my 1 here, and then I ran my tape here, and I count every quarter. So every quarter I hit gave me a feet, and that feet was saying this room was supposed to be 14. So I would have been right, and my print was right. So then I'm doing this on my foundation. I'm doing this on my subfloor, and so now when we are building it, we're not having rooms or larger or smaller than our blueprint. So that is how you determine and uh, when you want to learn to get the square feet. I mean, when you got your square feet and you got your feet of each room, and to understand it, when you say the blueprint says each quarter is a feet. If it says a half, then typically is whatever you're building. But normally it's a quarter. As long as I've been building, first time I've seen my guy that do my blueprints. I don't use one, and I'll give a shout out to him, John Wolfel. Have always built my prints, and he's done it for a lot of people that knows me, and I stick with him, and I know his blueprints. Matter of fact, I just looked at a set about a couple weeks ago, maybe a month ago. I even shared it on my TV show, one that we get ready to start building here, maybe in another month. We're gonna start. Some of you have watching my TV, you have seen me bring that blueprint on the site, on my TV, and so you saw it. But then eventually, you're gonna watch this TV network and channel, and you're gonna see me. We're gonna build that house, which you saw me show you just the blueprint. So one day I'll go by and take a picture of it, or take my cameras and we'll shoot a couple, scenes of it, and then come back on a Tuesday, and I'll say, here it is. This is what you saw me map out for you. And that's what just only to getting the knowledge. And then when you get the knowledge, then that will allow you to build this wealth. You know what I mean? What allows me to keep building wealth today is my knowledge. You know what I mean? I can typically build anything I want to build. I can typically put anything together. And it's only because of experience and going through it, down, of my life. And so I don't help a lot of guys, and until today, even on yesterday, I helped, a young man, we were doing tiling in a house, in a shower, and I was just showing him how to do the grout. You know what I mean? I help so many people, do tile work, building, you name the flooring, that's the ability that we have and that we give. And so what I'm doing is take my information, and a lot of it you're getting free. I'm not charging, I've said this and I'll say it, because we're getting ready to go off. I always try to be mindful of the time. Sometimes I do these subjects anywhere from a half an hour, 45 minutes, just give you a good knowledge of what you can do and how you can do it. It's not a course, then you get the course, you'll get certificate or you get this, that. Is just the knowing the knowledge. That's why I call it power to get wealth. You know what I mean? Because more knowledge is particularly more you get. Less less you get. But more knowledge I know is creating me to keep creating more money. You know what I mean? So that's where I think a lot of people that are watching me wants to be at. What I mean? I really believe that you wouldn't watch me if you didn't want to be there. What I mean? You can cut me off or, but I've learned that a lot of people are watching my how to build wealth. And so I just want to keep educating us. I'm learning every day. There's a lot of things I'm doing that, as I go through this project and do this process, I learn a lot. So it gives me, the ability to come back and share. A lot of people, I mean, I did a lot of things on hands. So now y'all getting, this is a step up into my life. Now I have my own TV network. So what we're doing is we have designate one of these TV networks to talk about, and people in business, how to get into business, what's the good business to get into, how to make money. And so I'm just giving you my experience. I'm giving you and that's how, even my experience is creating me, finance. People pay me for my knowledge. I have the ability not to charge so much. My plan is that if you watching me and you want to be a part of my network and you want to be a part of what we are creating, I want to come under my wings. Which means if you want to learn how to flip houses, you want to get into real estate, you want to buy and flip houses, you know, please, take the opportunity to reach out to us. We have many ways that you can get in contact with me. Um, One is I can give you, and after my shows, different things. All we do plays. If you're on Roku, you can keep watching different things, and advertisement and stuff is there. YouTube, you can inbox us on YouTube. You can inbox us on Facebook. What I mean? If you want to be a part of my network. And then what I'm giving is not you pay me up front, give me so much $1,000 and then I'll give you so much knowledge, or sometimes no knowledge. What I mean? Some people create things off the internet, put a little package together and sell it for $10,000. And people buying them. Why are people buying them? You might question ask me. Because they want to get wealthy. They want to become rich. So people pay for knowledge. What I mean? They pay we all pay what we want. So I'm typically trying to make it, for the next generation that are coming under me, don't have to pay as much. But what I do when you come into the team and we come and we buy projects together or we invest it in together, that means that's how you pay me. That's how you're taking your money and we're putting in a project. I'm teaching you how to do it. And then so some of them um, benefits that we make is how I'll, get back what I've given to you as sowing into you and sowing into me. And I believe in reaping and sowing is my greatest key. What I mean? And so as today, I just want to and to give you something that to think about, to put the plan together. If you want that, you want to jump on with me, like I said, reach out. I mean, let me know how you want to be a partaker with this. What I mean, and you can read you can real quickly. Want to go get a pencil and a piece of paper. I'll give you my email, and you can email us and to say, hey, I would like to be a part of this process. And the email you can reach me is at WC Property with the Y 2013 at 2 at gmail.com. I'll give it to you again. WC Property 2013 2 at gmail.com, and you say, I would like to be featured with uh, Wayne Foster with the WC property. And you're looking at my screen and you see my name, you'll see my company. Um, abbreviation is there. Um, and you could be a partaker of that. And so we can, give you more details of what we're doing, how we're doing it, and what we're doing. This is the month of April, and April we're getting ready to, we got two ventures that we're getting into. We're in a lot of ventures that we're doing now, but there's two ventures that we're getting into, which it's going to entail flipping, as we purchase, and now we're getting ready to be renovated. And so Tuesday again, you get to watch me take that first flip and put it together for you, and show you what the results happen when you do a flip with us. We're intentionally to make what we put in. We're intentionally to sow small and make great. That's every investment. When you get stock, you get CDs or whatever, you put a little in, hoping you get ready a lot. All right. So as I say, always, if you want to, again, email me at wcproperty2013 2 at gmail.com. Tell me how you enjoy even my TV shows. Tell us how you enjoy what knowledge you have got. Every first Tuesday, as we did early today, I meet at a restaurant in Hampton, and here's goes again. The team comes together that WC pays for the breakfast, and we had a session today on talking about building wealth, knowledge and things, getting the things. Sometimes people at the table, they can ask me questions. We can walk to a project, we can do different projects. That's all that is. If you'd like to be a part of that too, every first Tuesday of the month, the WC is gonna make an offer to take care of your breakfast, and we sit down. Let's talk business. If you want to build wealth, let's build wealth. If you want to learn how to build wealth, sit down. Let's talk about it. But as again, you can get that pencil and paper out. Email me at wcproperty2013 2 gmail.com, and you've been featured with Wayne Foster and on my TV show Let's Build Wealth. And as we keep building wealth, we leave some inheritance for our kids. And so it's always good talk about how to build wealth. I hope you learn how to use this tape, get those feet in that blueprint, and as you learn more, and as we are featured in a lot of things that we got, we always say that, knowledge gives power, and knowledge gives understanding. So as we build wealth, let's build wealth together. And we can do it together. So as we do it together, let's stay in together and build wealth. Thank you, and I hope you see you next Tuesday on Tuesday.